very good evening. Welcome to State of Business on our television. I'm Ashinsani Veerasinghe. Let's have a look at the headlines first. The finance company depositors to receive 600,000 rupees compensation. Money printing allegations are baseless, CoCabinet spokesperson asserts. News in detail. CoCabinet spokesperson Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena states that the central bank has taken steps to pay compensation up to 600,000 rupees to all insured depositors of the finance company. He made this announcement today during the weekly cabinet media briefing held at the Department of Government Information in Colombo. Accordingly, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, in his capacity as the Finance Minister yesterday, stressed that the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, as the apex monetary authority in Sri Lanka, should take the responsibility when financial institutions approved by it and under its supervision go into bankruptcy. Premier Rajapaksa made this statement at a meeting held at Temple Trees yesterday to review the current situation of the finance company PLC.
Central Bank වගකීම මීට වඩා වෙනස් විය යුතුයි කියලා මම නම් විශ්වාස කරන්නේ. මොකද අපි වගකීම බාර ගන්නවා නම් මම කම්පැනියක් හැදුවා නම් ෆිනෑන්ස් කම්පැනි එකක්. ඒක සෙන්ට්‍රල් බැංක් එකෙන් අධීක්ෂණය කරනවා නම් සහ මම ප්‍රසිද්ධ කරනවා නම් මේකේ තැම්පත් කරන්න අපි වගකීම බාර ගන්නවා කියලා. මම හිතන්නේ දැන් දාලා තියෙනවා. මම නම් කියන්නේ මේ නීති හදන්න වේවි අපිට. අනාගතයේදී මොකද්ද අපි කරන්න යන්නේ කියන එක. මේකක් තත්ත්වයක් ආවොත් මොකද්ද සෙන්ට්‍රල් බැංක් එකේ වගකීම. ඒක නැත්නම් මේවට ඉඩ දීලා තිබුණොත් මේකෙන් දිගින් දිගටම මුළු සමාජයටම ලොකු ප්‍රශ්නයක්. ඊළඟට සෙන්ට්‍රල් බැංක් එකේ කෙරෙහි තියෙන විශ්වාසය පළුදු වෙන්න පුළුවන්.
Thereby, after consultations with the relevant officials in CBSL with the Prime Minister, the government today announced that the central bank has taken steps to pay compensations up to 600,000 rupees to all insured depositors of the finance company as per the regulations of Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance and Liquidity Support Scheme. In the meantime, the central bank said that the balance amount, if any, will be settled after the liquidation of properties belong to TFC. Central Bank further added that the compensation payments will be made through the People's Bank and it's the agent bank appointed by CBSL for this purpose. The first phase of the compensation payment for the individual depositors having a single deposit will be commenced next week at People's Bank branch locations where TFC branches were previously operated. Thus, CoCabinet spokesperson Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena added that the Central Bank of Sri Lanka is responsible for depositing money in financial institutions up to 600,000 rupees. He added that issues of 93% of the depositors at TFC will be solved and the depositors who have deposited more will be paid in future. However, Minister Gunawardena said that the depositors of Weatherisinghe Trust Investment Limited will not be paid under Central Bank's compensation scheme due to the legal assistance sought by the depositors in this regard. Moreover, CoCabinet spokesperson Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena added that the central bank has decided to increase the refinancing limit of the formally approved working capital loans given for COVID-19 hit businesses and SMEs by 100 billion rupees. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena said that the refinancing limit for the working capital loans given to support small and medium enterprises affected by the COVID-19 pandemic will be increased from 50 billion rupees to 150 billion rupees. The relevant cabinet proposal has been tabled by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to raise the refinancing limit upon considering complaints received from various parties that they had not received relief from their banks. The Cabinet decided to provide working capital loans at a concessional rate of 4% for COVID-19 hit businesses in March as a special plan to control the economy. In the meantime, Cabinet has approved a proposal made by the President to avoid penalties for non-payment of income tax during the period the country was closed due to the corona pandemic. Thus, there will be no penalty imposed on the income tax until 20th June this year. Moreover, Gunawardena stated that Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, as the Finance Minister, has informed the Cabinet of Ministers yesterday that an amount of 196 billion rupees was settled for the varied services completed in 2019. He also pointed that an arrears of 240.7 billion rupees had been left by the previous government to be settled by the new government. Health Ministry announces that 2,086 PCR tests have been conducted in the country yesterday, which is the highest daily PCR test count conducted in Sri Lanka. In the meantime, the total number of coronavirus cases identified in the country has surpassed 1,780. The total number of coronavirus positive infections confirmed yesterday stands at 66. 14 returnees from Bangladesh, 19 returnees from Qatar and 2 returnees from Kuwait who were under quarantine centres and 31 Navy officers who were contracted the virus were identified yesterday. Moreover, 40 new cases have been identified in the country as of 4 p.m. today, increasing the total count of COVID-19 cases in the country to more than 1,780. 839 persons have recovered from the COVID-19 as of 4 p.m. today. In the meantime, more than 70,000 PCR tests have been conducted in the country so far. A number of 2,086 PCR tests have been conducted in the country yesterday, and that is the highest number of PCR tests carried out in a single day so far.
අද දින යවන විට ත්‍රිවිධ හමුදාව විසින් පවත්වාගෙන යන ලබන නිරෝධායන මධ්‍යස්ථාන තුළින් පුද්ගලයන් 11,669 දෙනෙකු නිරෝධායන ක්‍රියාවලිය අවසන් වී තම නිවෙස් වෙත පිටත් ගොස් තිබෙනවා. ත්‍රිවිධ හමුදාව මගින් පාලනය කරනු ලබන නිරෝධායන මධ්‍යස්ථාන 45ක් තුළ පුද්ගලයන් 5,257 දෙනෙකු මේ වන විට නිරෝධායනය වෙමින් සිටිනවා.
Stay tuned for more news after this short break. Welcome back after the break. CoCabinet Spokesperson Minister Dr. Bandula today totally denied the spreading story that the government has printed money up to 2 billion rupees. He also challenged anyone to come up with one note signed by the present governor of the central bank and present Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, who is also the finance minister.
රජයේ ඉතා විශාල මූල්‍ය දුෂ්කරතාවයකට පත් වෙලා තියෙන බව අපි හැමෝම දන්න කරුණක්. එහිදී රජය මේ ජනතාවට දෙන සහන ලබා දීම සඳහා අප්‍රමාණ කැපකිරීම හා ක්‍රමවේද කරනවා. දැන් උදාහරණයක් වශයෙන් මුදල් අමාත්‍යතුමා කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයට ඇවිදිලා රුපියල් 5000 බැගින් දෙන අවස්ථාවේදී දැනට මේ සමෘද්ධි සංවර්ධන අධිකාරිය සතුව තියෙන මුදල් ඇපේට තියලා ලංකා බැංකුවේ ණය මුදලක් කෝටි 1600 කරගෙන තමයි ජනතාවට ගෙව්වේ. ඒ වගේ අපි මේ මූල්‍ය කළමනාකරණයේ යටතේ ඉතාම පිරිමැසුම්දායක රජයේ අනවශ්‍ය වියදම් සියල්ල කපා ඇරලා නාස්තිවීම් කපා ඇරලා අපතේ යන් අඩු කරලා පුළුවන් තරම් දැඩි කරලි වෙලා ජනතාවට සාහන ටික සලසලා එදිනදා පවත්වාගෙන යාම කරන්නේ අයවැය ලේඛනයක් එනතෙක්. අයවැය ලේඛනයක් ආවට පස්සේ අපිට පුළුවන් මේ ණය සීමාවන් හැම වර්ධනය කරගෙන ඒ කළමනාකරණ ක්‍රියාවලිය කරන්න. දැනට ඔය මුදල් අට්ටු ගැසීම් පිළිබඳ මතය නිවැරදි අවබෝධයකින් කරන එකක් නෙමෙයි. දැන් මුදල් නෝට්ටුවක අත්‍යවශ්‍ය කරුණු දෙකක් තියෙනවා කියලා ඔබතුමාලා දන්නවනේ. එක මුදල් අමාත්‍යතුමාගේ අස්සනක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. දෙක ශ්‍රී ලංකා මහ බැංකුව අධිපතිගේ අස්සනක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. කවුරු හරි කෙනෙකුට මං අභියෝග කරන ඔය කියන බිලියන 2000ක් අට්ටු ගහලා තියෙනවා අලුතෙන් කියලා කියන අයට එක නෝට්ටුවක් ශ්‍රී ලංකා මහ බැංකුවේ නව අධිපති අස්සම් කරපු එක නෝට්ටුවක් පුළුවන් නම් පෙන්වන්න කියලා.
Department of Census and Statistics announces that the volume of industrial production has decreased by 28.1% in the month of March 2020 compared to the same month in 2019. Ministry of Economic and Policy Development in its latest records pointed out that the index of industrial productions went down almost 20% compared to the previous month. The index of industrial production has traditionally been used to provide insight into short-term changes in economic activity, and that is prepared by the Department of Census and Statistics, which is under the Ministry of Economic and Policy Development. The index of industrial production is an abstract number which represents the status of production in the industrial sector for a given period of time. The IPP also describes changes of the volume of goods and services produced over time, and at the same time it provides a measure of the short-term changes in the volume of industrial production from the manufacturing sector in the country. As the COVID-19 outbreak brought an unexpected lockdown situation in the country, it affected on the industrial production very badly. According to the official data, the volume of industrial production was decreased by 28.1% in the month of March this year compared to the same month a year before. Data also shows that the rate for the month of January stood at 108.1% and in February it stood at 103.9%. COVID-19 pandemic brought it down to 83.8% with an unexpected downturn of 28.1%. Data shows that manufacture of textiles, paper and paper products, coke and refined petroleum products, as well as rubber and plastic products went down by over 40%. Manufacturing of wearing apparels, machinery and equipment, wood and products of wood and coke except furniture had gone by almost 30% in the month of March. Tomorrow is the Puson Full Moon Poya Day, the day which we commemorate the introduction of Buddhism to Sri Lanka. This year's State Puson Festival will be held at Mihintale Madamaluwa in Anuradhapura tomorrow with a limited number of participants under the theme of Health is the Greatest Wealth. In the meantime, Venerable Pulpiti Mookalane Panyasiri Thero urges the devotees to witness a serene Puson Poya Day with homebound rituals due to the COVID-19 pandemic in Sri Lanka.
We know tomorrow is our Puson Poya Day, but the condition in Sri Lanka is somewhat different on this occasion due to COVID-19 problem. Therefore, as we did earlier on other Poya Days, on this Poya Day we cannot do accordingly. We cannot go to temple as such and we cannot behave the way that we did earlier on. Therefore, on this day what you have to do is to participate in various meritorious activities being at home. And also you can observe still being at home. And also you can practice meditation on this Poya Day. Due to this problem, being at home, you have to spend the day appropriately and fruitfully accumulating merits. So this is very important. We have to pay attention on the messages or the instructions given by the health authorities and other responsible persons including the government. May the Triple Gem bless you.
Stay tuned for stock updates after this short break. Welcome back after the break. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a mixed note today. The all-share price index dropped 1.4 points to close at 4,781.03 and the S&P SL20 gained 2.23 points to close at 1,954.57. The turnover was 605 million rupees and over 14 million shares were traded. Up next are forex rates. And that's all the news for today. Take care. Good night.